Welcome to News 9 Plus special coverage from Raisina Dialogues 2023. And we have with us a special guest today, former US Ambassador to India, Mr. Kenneth. Thank you very much for joining us right now.
Thank you.
My first question to you is, the US President publicly went to Ukraine, in Kiev, gave full support. What does it actually mean for him to walk in the streets of Kiev along with President Zelensky?
Well, what the United States government is saying through the president is that we support the Ukrainians in the defense of their sovereignty and their territorial integrity and will provide them ammunition, weaponry, and other means to help them resist the aggression by Russia.
So going publicly, does it mean that eventually, if it comes to the situation of putting boots to the ground, that could be a possibility?
No, I don't think there's any expectation at this point in time that the United States would put boots in the ground. Perhaps if Russia committed some sort of atrocity by using, a further atrocity, I should say, by using nuclear weapons or something of that nature, you might see a different response by NATO and the United States. But right now, there's the desire to support Ukraine through the provision of military supplies, intelligence, and other types of material support without putting U.S. boots on the ground.
There's a clear stalemate right now. Both sides, not budging from wherever they are. It's like entrenched right now. Is by publicly coming in support of Ukraine, does it mean that there could be a tilt on, say, Ukraine's favor in this case?
Well, again, the United States and NATO and other nations have stood behind Ukraine since this aggression began by Russia, and they're indicating their willingness and desire and plan to do so going forward, and to not have sort of a short attention span and to back off, but to stay with the Ukrainians for whatever's necessary.
Okay. Yesterday, a Russian foreign minister was here. He was saying that, groups like Quad or the Asia-Pacific groups are trying to gang up for countries against China or, say, Russia. Are they just trying to play the game, a hardball diplomatic game? Or
well, I listened yesterday to the Russian foreign minister, and I was waiting to hear something compelling on his part, and there really wasn't anything there. It was a bunch of anecdotal evidence and stories that didn't really amount to anything, in my opinion. And I don't think there's any truth to the fact that the United States is ganging up on others. We're doing what we think makes sense for ourselves, as are other nations that support Ukraine. Those countries that are remaining neutral, we'd like to see them support the position that we have, but we haven't done anything to twist their arms. We understand that, and we've worked with them.
And in the case of neutral India, what is your U.S. expecting from India in this current scenario?
Well, the United States understands the complexity of India's historical relationship with the Soviet Union and with Russia. We're hoping that India can speak out in favor of territorial integrity and sovereignty and the peaceful resolution of disputes, and hopefully persuade the Russians that a war of aggression does not make sense and is damaging Russia as well as the rest of the world.
And also, speaking about India-US relationship, the bilateral relationship has gone a sea change for the past 2 decades. Is there scope for more?
Yeah, the last 22 years have been quite remarkable when you step back and look at all that's been accomplished. It began at the end of the Clinton administration with the visit of President Clinton. President George W. Bush really transformed the relationship. He believed the world's oldest and largest democracy should get together and have much better relations. And we ultimately had the civil nuclear deal, which was, again, a transformation of the relationship. And it's continued to improve and get stronger. It's a bipartisan consensus in the United States in favor of a strong U.S.-India relationship. And we have differences, and we're not allies, we're partners, and we work through them. But every dimension of the relationship continues to improve, and we really work on every issue of human endeavor at this point in time.
My last question to you, Raisina Dialogue, the focus is on lighthouses, amidst the storm around. How do you see this perspective working out in the current geopolitical situation that is prevailing in the world? Because it's not just war or international affairs, it's also about the economy, which is getting affected. So there's a, creating situation so how do you see that
we're in a time of great flux. Coming out of the COVID pandemic, we have the rise of China and the issues that are being caused by that, and we have the Russian war and aggression against Ukraine. But at the same time, we've seen countries such as the United States, India, Japan, and Australia get together with the Quad. We revitalized that starting in 2017. We had ministerial meetings in 2019, and now we're having leadership summits beginning in 2021. And the Quad is trying to present a positive agenda and set of issues for the common good of the Indo-Pacific region. And it's getting more and more attention. It's expanding the things that it gets into. And I think it really represents a positive architecture and an open one for the region, for any country that wants to abide by a rules-based international system of openness, of freedom of navigation and overflight. And again, I think the Quad will be a force for good going forward.
Thank you, Ambassador Juster, for speaking to News 9 Plus.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.